Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis expected back in the courtroom today, responding to allegations of an inappropriate relationship with a prosecutor that she hired to lead the case against former President Trump. A hearing this morning will help that judge determine whether or not a personal relationship between Willis and Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade could unfairly impact the former president's prosecution. Joining us now is attorney Alan Dershowitz. Professor, as always, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. You've said that in all your years, you've seen attorneys do some dumb things, but you say this one takes the cake.
This certainly does. She has the most important case in her life. Fulton County has the most important case in its history, and she just messes it up by hiring the one person in the whole state that she should not have hired, a grossly unqualified prosecutor with no experience in these complex matters of RICO, with whom she's having a friendship that, according to her, then develops into a sexual relationship. How dumb can you get? How bad judgment can you show? Whichever way this case comes out in court, it seems to me, in the court of public opinion, nobody is going to have any faith in her judgment. Now, she's exposed to even more risks than disqualification. She and he could be prosecuted for perjury, for conspiracy to engage in perjury. Yeah. And there should be a special prosecutor appointed to see whether or not she's telling the truth, he's telling the truth, when they describe their relationship as becoming sexual only after she hired him. There's a witness who says that's not true. That can't just be buried and ignored when you have
the timing of it. Yeah.
Fulton County.
There's a lot of dirty laundry being aired out in this case, their relationship. I'm curious, though, Professor, I mean, what constitutes a conflict of interest in a case like this? And is proof or their acknowledgement of just mere existence of a romantic relationship enough to disqualify them?
I think the combination of having made denials, having ducked the issue, and the fact that she is supposed to supervise him. The defendants in this case have a right to a process whereby the elected district attorney can regulate in a fair way what the assistants are doing. Can she really have that kind of regulatory power over someone with whom she has a Dutch treat romantic payment relationship? And there's also the issue of whether or not there were essentially kickbacks, whether or not she financially benefited in any way from the $600 and some odd thousand that she paid him. So as the judge correctly said, there's not only an actual conflict of interest issue, but there's the appearance of injustice, the appearance of a conflict of interest. And in a case like this, involving the past and possibly future president of the United States, everything has to be above reproach, and it isn't in this case. She should step down. He should step down. That might avoid recusal. But if they don't step down, then the entire office should be recused, and the case should be sent to a different district attorney's office or to the attorney general's office for determination as to whether a prosecution should proceed. But it should not proceed on the basis of these allegations, whether proved or unproved. But I hope the judge goes beyond financial improprieties and gets to the issue of whether perjury was committed in his courthouse.
Yeah, a couple major questions to focus on today. Lastly, sir, I just have a few seconds left before I let you go. If playing hypotheticals, if she's not disqualified, I mean, will the money paid to Nathan Wade, the north of $600,000 that he's received on this case, cast a shadow? And what does that do to, people's confidence in the legal system there in Georgia and the integrity of it?
I think the confidence in our legal system is at an all-time low, not only this case, but the entire weaponization of our criminal justice system and our Constitution by both sides. There are so many instances of it, and it's so important to restore confidence in our criminal justice system. Today's hearing is an important first step. Let's see if the judge does the right thing and allows inquiry into whether or not there was perjury committed in the courtroom. That's the key issue for me, and I hope the judge proceeds along those lines.
Yeah, well, our teams are on top of it, that is for sure. Alan Dershowitz, Professor, as always, thanks so much for joining us. Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.